Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Taurus. So the sun is in Pisces, and Pisces is connected with the moon card. And here in Osho Tarot, we see two hands that form a vagina, and the two salamanders, one is the knowing and one is the not knowing, are protecting the portal of the past lives. So here we get a deeper look into maybe our past lives, maybe we can clear or heal something, because Pisces is spirituality and art, which is really beautiful, because an artist, only when he's really connected to a higher consciousness can he receive the art that wants to be coming through him into this world. The sun giving the light to the moon, which is in your sign. And so since we're going to the left, I'm placing the card here. And you, the Hierophant, here in the Golden Universal Tarot, more traditional tarot deck, right? You can see here Osho goes completely off, right? And here we go. Okay, here this is more the classical tarot deck from Rider-Waite, just a little bit redone. We see you as the Hierophant. We see you as the one that receives the information, that gets the message, the spiritual message. We see a 3 within the card, because we have here two people, the red school and the white school, and he's in the center. Also the two pillars, right? And again, the two salamanders, the two pillars, and then the 3 in it. Here, kind of like the 8, right? Because this is the 18th major arcana, and you're the 5th major arcana. And so the soul here is saying, well, remember your past lives. And the soul is saying here, remember, you receive the information. I always bring you the information. It's always there. You just need to bring yourself up to receive it. So this today, right? Sun in Pisces, Moon in Taurus. And of course the story goes that we're going to your new moon to the left. Reading to the left is the soul and the introverted, more inner path. And then after your new moon, we go out again to the full moon, which is reading to the right, extroverted, masculine, right, and full moon. And so just that you know, you get 6 month readings to the left, and then you get 6 month readings to the right, because that's what the moon does. And I work with the moon because the moon travels through the zodiac signs every 2.5 days. And so I'm using that moment when the moon is in your sign so that I receive your energy through the moon, so that I can tell you the story here. Now, what's interesting here is that you are ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love and beauty, but also the money. And you are the money, right? You are the banks, and you are the values that we accumulate here. Then Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is the planet of dreams and also of your mind, right, of your spirit. And in that sense, you are now getting a visual into your past lives, and you will get the information, you will get the spiritual information so that you can bring it out. Now in my deck for Pisces, I created, of course, fish pose for the Pisces, and the two salamanders is the downward and the upward dog. And we can see how the downward dog is looking into this dimension. Meanwhile, the upward facing dog, he's looking up and he knows the soul, right? He's looking left. Meanwhile, he's facing right, but he's also looking back, and somehow he knows that this life is just a moment. And you recognize, right, that here we have a really beautiful message coming through Pisces. For you, I created a movement. I don't want you to sit between two pillars anymore. And so you inhale, go up into high mountain, there where the hexagram is, where the information is, where the symbols are. Exhale, you're coming down into forward bend, and you bring the information down to the people, and you bring all your hands down on the floor. So then you have actually here not 5 but 10 fingers on the floor. And this bowing down is important for you because you became the priest and of course the rabbi and the shaman, all these extraordinary people that have been able to receive the information that comes from above. And so the triangle that's pointing down and the triangle that's pointing up, the triangle we see here, the triangle pointing up, and of course the golden light is like the information is always there. It's never gone. It's never like, oh, it's not there, I have to search it. No, you need to just open yourself up to it, and then it will come to you. Now what's interesting is that Neptune is also ruling the Hanged Man, and the Hanged Man is a pre-stage to then Scorpio, which is your opposite sign. So when you go towards the full moon, you go to Scorpio, and Scorpio is going to give you the light, right? Because that's Scorpio sun, and the moon is then in your sign. And so the Hanged Man is that pre-stage to Scorpio, is that moment where we almost feel like, okay, that's where the enlightenment is happening. And so we're going to look into the Hanged Man today as well. You are the King of Pentacles facing to the left, and is your birthday between April 10th and May 9th, then this is your court card. If not, please look in the description below. I have listed, of course, all the cards there, all the cards that I'm using on their position and what that position means, because I'm picking out of the 22 major arcana a few stations as to what is coming, what is talking. You are the second house of resources and value. And you can see that she's holding the crystals, and she's holding here the symbols, the sacred geometrical symbols, as a flower of life almost, right? As a balance, the two, right? The mineral kingdom, and then of course also the signs that work with it. You are Taurus, the sensuous, right? You love everything about food, you love everything about enjoying life and really celebrating life. Maybe be careful, sometimes a little bit too much. But when we do everything in a balanced way, right, nothing can happen. We can get quite old, as we can see some people really turn like 100 years old, right? Now back to the last reading, because everything is cyclical and we include what was happening in the last reading. Aquarius Sun highlighting the Taurus Moon, the message, your rising Kundalini energy transform you into happiness. So I'm always putting here an arrow so you see the way I'm reading, and that you are having now the path to the new moon. You had the 9 of Cups, and then here came this pressure, and then here came the Flower of Life, the Tower, and the 3 of Swords. Quite intense, but remember, the dark side, or the word negative, is not that it's negative. It's actually that this is just the opposite, and these opposites again and again are important. These are the 2 salamanders, right? Or the downward and the upward facing dog. These are the 2 pillars. This is duality. And duality, not one is good and the other one is bad. They're just like yin and yang. They need each other. They create the one, the union, the circle. And so understand, right, that actually the Kundalini energy that is transforming you into happiness, that happiness can only be experienced when you have been unhappy, so that you can actually compare, right? If you don't have that, how can you know, right? You cannot compare. It's to no one. So it's really important. Good. We're going to look into the Hangman and start with that card. And it's the Creativity Oracle that I'm using because Neptune, which is then connected, of course, to Pisces. Pisces is the 12th house of spirituality and art. And like I said, art is something that comes individually from deep within and lets us see this beautiful creative world, right? So here we have the Creativity Oracle. And we're going to see what this oracle is wanting to tell you, because it's important to understand what is the Hangman all about, right? The Hangman, we have the 10, the Wheel of Fortune inside, and the 2, the High Priestess. The High Priestess that is always uniting the duality. And so we have here, of course, the moment where he's hanging upside down. It's almost like the Wheel of Fortune was like bringing you into this kind of state of consciousness, and you feel it. And when we then calculate the 10 and the 2 together, we get the 3, the Empress. And the Empress is the triangle which is here in your card. The triangle that is saying, well, now go up and find the new form deep within you. And so the card that is coming here is this one. And I just want you to have a look at this. They're so beautiful. They're made of fabric. And so that's the creativity here, right? That's the art here. And you see there is a moment where this young girl is sitting here and she is totally in this fantastic world, the butterfly, and it looks like India, right? And of course, reflection is the word and the number 58. And the 5 is in there, which is for you, of course, a sign that you are here in this card. And the 8, which is also part of the 18 of Pisces, the moon. The message: time to focus, balance, reflect, and guide yourself past stumbling blocks to take the right actions. Now, what's absolutely fascinating is when we calculate the 5 and the 8 together, what do we get? The 13. And the 13 is Scorpio, is your opposite sign. That when you get your next full moon, which is in the sign of Scorpio, right? The 13 is always that moment where then the Wheel of Fortune plus the Empress together creates the 4. Mastery, creates the Emperor, creates the action that we can take. And so here there's an indirect message letting you know, when you connect with nature, your body is not questioning things, because your body cannot think. And so when we go into nature, it is important that you recognize that nature doesn't think, and we can heal our body in nature, because nature simply is. Nature is not saying, oh, I'm gonna not flow, right? The river. I'm not gonna flow today. I don't feel like it. It just flows. It just does. And so when we go into nature, we are healed by that. And interesting enough, the 12 becomes the 3. The 13 becomes the 4. And the 4 and the 3, respectively, the Emperor and the Empress, are letting you know exactly the two pillars that you're sitting in between is the masculine and the feminine. The Empress and the Emperor create the seven, and the seven is the emotional intelligence of the Chariot. The success, the emotional success, is what makes us truly deeply happy. Everything else is then coming as well, right? But if you're emotionally happy and satisfied and excited what you're doing and how you're doing it, it's not what you're doing, it's how you do it. Are you getting lost in it? Do you feel like you're hanging upside down and you don't even know what is up and what is down, and you're like, all of a sudden you're coming out of what you're doing and you're like, oh my God, I'm here in this world. I need to eat, right? And so the seven appears. And the seven, the emotional intelligence, the seven chakra, recognize this beautiful message here now through the reflection. So we begin on the position of the Fool, that foolish idea, right? So here you get a new vision, and this new idea then comes in with the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is connected with the constellation Venus in Aquarius. Now, back in the last reading, you had Aquarius Sun, and the message was your rising Kundalini energy transforms you into happiness. Now, are you questioning that? The five that is in here, and now here the Five of Swords, are you fighting that? Are you thinking about it? Because this is a crazy thought of questioning something, which is your right to do so, right? But when you recognize here that one sword is pointing up, and that's the sword that's saying yes, remember, you are in the center. Two swords, right? The two pillars. Understand the message here is to recognize that you don't want to question something like that. You don't want to question the reflection and the message that came here to unite masculine and feminine deep within you, because this is masculine and feminine, and then that one energy here is clear. Now this reminds me of the mudra that you are holding, which is 2 fingers up, 2 fingers down, and you in the center, right? So it's like 2, 2, but both of them face down and 1 in the center. Nevertheless, recognize Venus is your planet in Aquarius, brings you this kind of thoughts. Be aware, just be aware, because the Fool is connected with Uranus, and Uranus is the revolution. And so here, sometimes the 7 can be a revolution to this institution, the church. They don't want, right, that kind of knowledge to reach to the people. And so they put it into mystical numbers and shapes and forms so that not anybody can just understand it. So be careful, right? What's going on here? What are you thinking about? Take that step in, more in to the new moon, and allow whatever new beginning wants to come to you to come to you. That's it. Then on the position of the Magician. The Magician is connected with Mercury, and Mercury brings us, of course, the information. Also, it's the language. And it's really interesting because we have so many words to describe something, but a symbol, we don't need to talk. We just need to send a symbol and people understand it. And symbols is or are the language of the soul. And the Mystical Shaman is letting you know that, to look deeper within the 38, which creates then here the Empress and the strength or the infinity symbol, the 11. And the 11 is the inner teacher. On the tree of life, right, we have an 11 point. We have 1 to 10. That's why we have 1 to 10 minor arcanas, but there is an 11. And it's hidden. And the 11 is the inner teacher, is the portal, plus the 1. We have 3 times the 1. So understand the message, right? In a way, there are also 3 energies, right? 1, 2, 3, because they're together. And the 3 is, again, the Empress that is giving birth to the new form. And so the mystical shaman is talking to you and letting you know, hey, the magician is the shaman. You see, he's dressed with this red dress, and inside he's white. He knows. He has the infinite symbol above his head, and the 8 is in here. And so the shaman gives birth to new energy. Now I wanted to see what comes up here, because this is an oracle, and in the Mother Peace Tarot, the pages of pentacles are coming up, and that's you as a young person. Now you see her standing here in front of her birth hole, and she is actually working with the sun is setting and the moon is rising. And here we have all 3 earth signs, right? We have you, Taurus, and we have Virgo, and we have Capricorn here. But I feel this is something you are looking deep within and see why you have here this little bit of discord, right? Venus in Aquarius. Why are you fighting? With whom are you fighting? And so here the number 3 is in a way a beautiful analogy to the 3 ones here, right? And so here we have 111 and the 3, so I do not calculate that together. But it would be a 6, and the 6 is self-love, right? So you can pick, you can decide if you want to calculate it together or not. So the 6, the self-love, will come here, but you understand that you are able to look deeper within to your childhood and recognize what maybe created a little bit this negative thinking, though negative thinking is not negative. It's just you are drawn to question everything. You're drawn to talk about certain things a little bit in a doomsday kind of way. Now we have the word. Then on the position of the High Priestess comes the 8 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups is connected with the constellation Saturn in Pisces. And so Pisces is talking through the 8 here in the 18. And Pisces are your emotions, deep emotions, subconscious. And we are leaving something that's good for something our higher consciousness needs. And that's something your intuition brings, because she's really connected with the intuition. Meanwhile, the magician is the inspiration to be like a mystical shaman, looking deeper into yourself, into your childhood, to see what happened there in your childhood. And so you get the 10 here calculated together. And the 10 is a new cycle. The 10 is saying the wheel of fortune. Everything is spinning in this universe. Everything. Nothing is fixed. Everything is moving. And the 10 is saying, yes, now there is a new cycle, because after you comes Aries, and Aries begins the new year. A new year is beginning. And it's almost like here the High Priestess is telling you that, right? And she also sits between 2 pillars, but here she is between a black and a white pillar. You have 2 gray pillars, which is fascinating, right? You have already put yourself into an understanding that there is no more black and white. There are also the gray tones in between, right? Because you can see the contrast between black and white, and we can tell a story. Otherwise, it's just white or black. We don't learn by only being the white or by only being the black. We learn when we combine them, and that's the story. That's a law. So the 10 is letting you know that, right? That Saturn, the planet of your father or the finger, is letting you know you gotta move on emotionally from things that maybe happened in your childhood. Then on the position of the Empress, which is always connected with, now I want to bring this crazy idea, which in a way is not an idea, which is a way you think. And of course this inspiration to be like a shaman and to look at my childhood and then to move on comes Scorpio, your opposite sign, right? But you need to first go to the new moon. And Scorpio is helping you because it's also the emotional letting go and moving on that is letting you know, okay, enough, right? It's done. Because the 13 is here, the 4, and the 4 and the 3 is the 7. The same way we had here the 13, remember? And so the reflection that this young girl is doing here, and she has a beautiful life, you see that? I mean, who wants to leave that? Nevertheless, you gotta move on. It's inevitable. You cannot hold on to things. You cannot force things. And again, we have the 4 and the 3 and the 7. The emotional intelligence is coming up. The Chariot, the movement, the going forward, the healing, the shift, the emotions, right, that help you to move forward. Now, of course, I can also do the 13 plus the 3 is the 16, which is the Tower. And the Tower is connected with Mars, and Mars is that, okay, things gotta go. That don't make sense anymore. We cut off heads, we cut off arms, we cut off feet. These are the motor organs. These are connected with the 5 senses as well, right? And it's important for you to understand the 5 senses, right? The 5 senses are windows to the outer, but also to the inner world. And so here, in the end, the 7 comes to you as the final stage of emotional intelligence that is helping you to see that the Empress is connected as well with Venus. So she's talking directly to you through Venus. And of course, Scorpio is connected with Pluto, which is the shadow side and the mystical side that is saying, come with me deeper within to your new moon. And that's what the opposite sign is bringing to you, right? After your new moon, you need to go out again into the full moon and shine. And now first you need to go deep within and find in that darkness your own light through the sun, which is also in your sign. Sun and new moon both in your sign. That's why the new moon is so much more powerful than actually the full moon. On the position of Taurus, which is now connected with the moon, comes the world. And the world is also looking over into the soul path. Her body is facing the extroverted path, but her head is facing the introverted path. And here you get the 21 plus the 5, the 26. And the 20 is your calling. It is your calling to bring the information down to earth as loving and as caring as you can. Because the 26, the 6 is love, self-love, love that brings back love. Because when we give love, we only get love back. And of course I could calculate here the 3 and the 5, then is the 8, right? But it's the same. If I do calculate the 21 and the 5 is the 26, we get also the 8. But the result is a little bit different to know that it is your calling with the 26, that the 20 is in there, and that you understand clearly how we can calculate things together, right? We have different ways of doing things by calculating the numbers together to become a single digit, so that we can understand what's really going on. So here you have the 8. The 8 again is understand that you need to move on. Understand that Scorpio is helping you in that transformation, and understand that you are learning and that you are bringing this to the world, right? Because you are a teacher. You're a teacher for humanity. As a spiritual teacher, you are an inspiration. On the position of the King of Pentacles, we have here the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is connected with Venus in Cancer. And the 7 has come up 2 times. And the 7, again, the emotional intelligence, is to understand that this is self-love, pure, utter self-love, that then can be given to a partner. Now you're the 2nd house of resources and value, and if I put you here, right, you're literally looking at that. You're literally saying, oh, look at that, that's me getting married, right? But I could also put you behind, and so it's almost like this is behind you, and she's looking into that. You see that? So here we have, when we put them together, a 22, a 2-2 portal. And the 2-2 portal, again, is a sign of the secret brotherhood, right? Which created the tarot. And the 22 is you understand the pictures, you understand the signs. And the 22 is, of course, the Fool. The Fool is the 0, but is the 22nd major arcana, which can be placed anywhere, but still we have 22 major arcanas, right? So think about what happened here. You see that? What happened in this relationship? Did you fight? Did you quarrel? Did you nag? What did you do? Right? And so you are able to look into this and learn more about it. And you are able to see on a deeper level what went wrong, so that you can understand that you maybe don't want to do that in the next relationship. And that's that moving on, right? That's like also then helping to heal the world, to find self-love. It's almost like that's your calling, to find your self-love, so that you can then understand real love, right? The love of here, the Caduceus, and that equalness of these two that are bringing here this lovely energy of Venus in Cancer. This is anima and animus, right? This is the sharing between two people, a deep affection, right? That and adoration that they have for each other, a friendship also. Then on the position of Pisces in the Sun, Pisces brings you here the 8 of Swords. Now look at the 8 of Swords. This is the guilt, and I think you feel a little guilty because we saw that here came up the 5 of Swords, and so the 5 of Swords and the 8 of Swords is again the 13. It's the transformation. And then the 4 comes out of it, and so we understand why Scorpio is here. You need to look deeper again and understand that here you can see she is here, and she's literally like, oh my God, why did I do that? Or You maybe say, oh, why did he do that? No, you need to say, why did I do that? Right? Because she's looking over at them. And you must understand that we have to learn to really heal ourselves, and we can only heal ourselves when we have an opposite, when we have someone that looks at us. And that's where the real healing begins. And so the 8 of Swords plus the 5 of Swords, remember, again a 13, a transformation in repairing the guilt. You don't need to feel guilty. Look at the flowers up here. It's self-induced. You creating this because you feel guilty of the quarreling. And so the 4 then is saying, okay, then you can really be successful. Then you can go out like an emperor in the next month. Heal it. And of course we have the 18, which is the 9. The 9 and the 8 is the 17. That's Aquarius. And Aquarius, like I said, was in the last reading. Aquarius Sun, giving your Taurus Moon the light, right? Kundalini rising into a deep happiness. And then the 8 is left. So you are the star, right? The star is coming up. Aquarius is coming up here again. And Aquarius is all about thinking too much. Thinking so much, right? Like we said here, Venus in Aquarius. Venus is you. Aquarius was in the last reading. Though here we have the constellation Jupiter and Gemini. Now Jupiter is the expanding consciousness, right? It's the planet that says, well, get out there and do things. And Gemini is the information. Gemini is also connected with the Mercury energy. And so the Mystical Shaman is looking at that and is helping you to release this guilt, release it through your past lives. Maybe something happened in the past life, and so now you can repair it in this life. Have a look, right? Again, remember, Jupiter is making things big. And so here, this is Pisces, right? The subconscious is bringing you up this kind of feeling, and then you can heal it, and you can accept it, and you can acknowledge it. When we acknowledge also those kind of feelings, then they disappear. If we don't want to show them, if we hide them, they stay, they stuck. On the position of then the moon as the subconscious, comes the dream oracle here, the gathering around, the power of community, the 26. Now we had the 26 here, you and the world, remember? So it's important that you help the world to release the guilt, right? Release the guilt, and you can do that through a community. So again, we have here the 9, we have here the 8, the 17. Aquarius is the gathering of the community, is the coming together of like-minded people. And then going into the spirit world, the 8 is left. Being in the Earth star, doing the healing, doing the work, which is where Pluto is going, and Pluto is leading Scorpio. So indirect, you feel through Scorpio that Pluto is going by the end of November fully for 20 years into Aquarius. And that's what it is, right? Aquarius, the gathering, the people. You have Aquarius here, Venus in Aquarius, right? Remember Aquarius, the 17, the star that came up also through Pisces here when we calculated that together. So what comes up here is the Ace of Wands. In this gathering, you see these little mushrooms. You have an epiphany. You have an, oh my God, I understand now. And it's the Ace of Wands, but reverse. And so it's not there yet, but you're almost there. It's almost saying, yeah, you understand. You will understand pretty soon, right? Because this is in your subconscious, and it will make puff. And it will make puff to you, right? It's like, yes, this burst of idea, and in this group of people that are supporting you, that are loving you, and you will be like, okay, I'm gonna go deeper within. The moon is letting me know that. So when we calculate it all together, right, we had the 8 plus the 1 is the 9. The 9 is the completion. So beautiful, right? And that completion is again what Pisces is all about, right? The 18 turns into 9 because the 9 is the Hermit. And of course, Hermit is connected with Virgo. Pisces and Virgo are opposite of each other. And then you release the guilt, remember, right? When you are coming into a completion. On the position of the sun, as the sun that is giving you now the light to understand things, right? To see things, comes here the 23. Look at that, the storm, the cleansing. And you are then realizing something because the hand is the 5. You are understanding here something. This is puff, the storm. This is the epiphany. It's a cleansing. It's also tears. It's releasing. It's here the 19. The Wheel of Fortune and the Hermit in it makes the 10. The Wheel of Fortune plus the 5 is the 15, which is Capricorn. And we did have the Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn, right? The pages, the young generation. So there are young people who are inspiring you to let go and to cleanse and to do the healing. And it's so beautiful because she's looking up into this light. And it's almost like you're going through a magic mushroom trip and you're understanding something. And the 15 turns into a 6. And the 6 again, the self-love. That's all. We want to love, right? Now what comes through this cleansing is the Strength card, which is Leo. And here in this deck, it's the card number 11. And she sits here with her 12 animal friends, which are the 12 zodiac signs. And she's the number 13. But it's reversed. So you find your strength. You need to look deeper and understand that she's standing here. And then you are recognized. You can turn this around. Look at this. This is exactly this woman. Wow, look at that. So it's almost like, yes, you are not yet in your strength, but it's coming. You are doing everything possible to come into your strength. And so the 6 and the 11 here, I don't calculate together, but it would be again the 17. And the 17 is Aquarius, is the star, is the light, because the sun is a dwarf star. But this could be a date, the 6th of November or the 11th of June. I let you pick which one you like better. So it's clear that you're finding your strength. You're finding your strength here in the hand of God, in the hand that is teaching you always to understand you are powerful. You are here, the 26. Remember the 26 here, the gathering, the 26, the 8 is left. And so, yes, you understand the message, right? The 5 is then, yes, I get it. That's me. I am learning. I am growing. And then on the position of the world, which came up on Taurus, comes the Queen of Wands, reverse. And that happens, right? It's almost saying, yes, you getting your strength then in the next month through Aries, in the next month, Sun in Aries. And you have here the world, which you had on your position, right? The 26, the 8. And so here the 21 of the world plus the first house of self and I is the 22. And the 22 came up with you as you know what self-love now means. You know that here this burst of energy is connected here with her, and it doesn't matter that she's upside down, because remember the Hanged Man, remember that he brought this, and so it's almost like you are suspended and almost getting the enlightenment. You see this? Oh my God, it's like, yes, you are getting a close-up of this position, and that brought you here the reflection reflection, looking deep within, time to focus, balance, reflect, and guide yourself past stumbling blocks to take the right actions. The 13, right? Scorpio. And of course, then the 4 is left. Amazing. Now, here the 21 plus the 1 is the 22. It's also a 4. Now, of course, if this comes up right, it would look into this. But it's good that it's reversed because it's the new moon that you are focusing on, not the full moon. The full moon comes after. So you still have Aries reading, and then you have your reading, the new moon reading. And so this is so beautiful. You are looking into this card and you are understanding everything about reflection. You understand everything this card is here saying because of the Hanged Man here. You see, this is the close-up of the Hanged Man that knows, yes, I need to reflect. I need to see this. I need to look at this. I need to focus. I need to balance. I need to guide myself because I do not want this anymore. It's finished. It's done. I learned my lesson. And I look at the love at the 22 in a new way. I learned my lesson, and the Hanged Man brought that to you. And already Aries is talking, which is in the next reading. Wow, so beautiful. Sometimes it just really like pulls me so strongly in, right? But I hope I see you in the next reading. Aries is here, right? The Queen of Wands. And so I thank you, of course, for being with me. Namaste.